Hello and welcome to Padayam YouTube channel. This is for the class 7 science chapter 3 fiber to fabric. In class 6 you have learned about that some fibers obtained from the plant and some from the animals. So it's like a wool and silk. So in this chapter what we are going to study about the various part of the animals where we obtain the fibers. So animal fibers, wool and silk are two obtained from the animals. So wool comes from the sheep, goat, yak and some other animals. These wool yielding animals wear hair on their body. So they have the thick hair coat on them. Why is it so? Because they trap the air, and air is a poor conductor of heat. So as you would learn in chapter 4, hair keeps this animal warm and wool is derived from these hairy fibers. Now there is an activity is given here, right? So it shows that the body and arms and those you had are have the same hair or the different ones. So here, like us, the hair skins of the sheep has two types of fibers, and that from it's a fleece. First, the coarse of bare hair and the fine soft hair close to the skin. The fine hair provides the fibers for making a wool. Some breeds of sheep possess only fine underhair. Their presents are specially chosen to give birth to sheep which have only soft hair. This process of selecting parents or for obtaining a special character in this offspring, such soft underhair a sheep is termed as a selective breeding, right? So before these various part of the body produce the fleece, where the soft ones are selected to breed and to produce the progeny of the same animal. Animal that yield wool. Several breeds of sheep are found in a different part of the country. However, the fleece of sheep is not the only source of wool, though wool commonly available in the market is asleep wool, sheep wool, yak wool is common in Tibet and Ladakh. Angora wool is obtained from Angora goats found in hilly regions such as the Jammu and Kashmir. Wool is also obtained from a goat hair. The underfur of Kashmiri goat is soft. It is woven into fine shawls called a pashmina shawl. The fur on the body of camel is also used as a wool. Llama and alpaca found in South America are also yield wool. In activity 3.2 it says collect the pictures of the animal whose hair is used as a wool. Stick them into a scrapbook and you can write it down about them. Find more about this animal and the language of that particular country. In activity 3.3 they ask you to procure the outline of Indian map and put the marks where the animals are found and the animals that providing the wool. From the fiber to wool. For obtaining a wool, sheep are reared, their hair is cut and proceed into a wool. Let us learn about this process. Rearing and breeding of sheep. If you travel to the hill in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim, or the plain of Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat, you can see shepherds taking their herds of sheep for grazing. Sheep are herbivorous and prefer grass and leaves. Apart from the grazing, sheep rears also feed them on a mixture of a pulses, corn, jowar, oil cake material left after taking oil from the seeds and minerals. In the winter, sheep are kept indoors and fed on a leaves, grain, and a dry fodder. So, the rearing and breeding of sheep is done by the farmers or the herders are in different parts of India. Sheep are reared in many parts of our country for wool. In table 3.1, the informations are given the name of the breed of sheep and the part of country and type of wool they produce. The quality and the texture of the fiber obtained from them is also indicated in the table. Certain breeds of sheep have a thick coat of hair on their body, which yield a good quality wool in a large quantities. As I mentioned earlier, these sheep are selective breed, with one parent being a sheep of a good breed. Once the reared sheep have developed a thick growth of hair, and hair is shaved off for getting a wool. Process fibers into a wool. The wool, which is used for knitting sweaters or for weaving shawl, is the finished product of the long process, which involve the following step. Step 1. The flesh of the sheep along with a thin layer of the skin is removed from its body. This process is called shearing. It is done by the machine, to those which used by the barber at using the shave of hair. Usually hair are removed during the hot weather, and this enables sheep to survive without their protective coat of hair. The hair provide woolen fibers. Woolen fibers are then processed to obtain the woolen yarn. Shearing does not hurt the sheep, just as does not hurt ourselves when we cut our hair or your father shaves his beard. So the uppermost layer of the skin is dead. That's the reason it does not hurt to anyone. The second step is the sheared skin with the hair is thoroughly washed in the tank and remove the grease, dust, and dirt. This is called a scouring. Nowadays, scouring is done by machine. So cleaning of those hair is called scouring. Third step, after scouring, shorting is done. The hair skin is sent to the factory where the hair of a different texture are separated or shortened. Step fourth, the small fluffy fiber called the burrs are picked out from their hair. These are the same burrs which sometimes appear on your sweater. The fiber are scoured again and dried. This is the wool ready to be drawn into fibers. In step 5th, the fibers can be dyed in various colors as natural fleece of sheep and got is black, brown or white. Step 6. The fibres are straightened, combed and rolled into yarn. The longer fibers are made into wool for sweaters and the shorter fibers are spun and woven into woolen clothes. So these are the process, right? Shearing, removing the hair, scouring in the tank and scouring by machines and rolling into the yarns. In activity 3.4, the classmates are debating about the sheep, rearing the sheep and chop off their hair for getting the wool. Now the another section is a silk. Silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is called sericulture. Find out from your mother, aunt and grandmother the kind of silk saris they have and list the kind of silk. Before we discuss the process of obtaining a silk, it is necessary to know the interesting life history of a silk moth. So silk we obtain from the silk moth, right? And the rearing of silkworm is known as the sericulture, is most important. Life history of a silk moth. The female silk moth lays eggs from which they hatch larvae, which are called the caterpillars or silkworms. They grow in a size, and when the caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of its life history, called a pupa, if it first weaves a net to hold itself, then it swings its head from side to side in the form of figure of 8. During this movement of the head, the caterpillar secreted a fiber made up of a protein which hardens or exposed to the air and become a silk fiber. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers, and this covering is known as a cocoon. The further development of the moth continues inside the cocoon. Silk fibers are used for weaving silk clothes. Can you imagine that the soft silk yarn is as strong as a comparable thread of steel? The silk yarn is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth. There is a variety of silk moth which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is a different in texture. Thus, Tazar silk, Moga silk, Kosa silk, etc. are obtained from the cocoons spun by a different type of moth. The most common silk moth is the mulberry silk. The silk fiber from the cocoon of this moth is a soft, lustrous, and elastic and can be dyed in a beautiful colors. Sericulture or culture of the silkworm is a very old occupation in India. India produced a plenty of silk on a commercial scale. So, as we have seen this here, in the silk history, caterpillars are rare, right? And the sericulture is done. When the life history first become pupa and over a period of time, it keeps weaving around and produce a protein uh, string or fiber, right? So that's how the silk is obtained. Once it covered it with this whole protein fiber, it's known as the cocoon, and that cocoon, after helpful to you make the silk, you can see the activity 3.5, 3.6, and 3.7 or collecting the more information about the silk. From cocoon to silk, for obtaining silk, moths are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk thread. Rearing silkworms. A female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on a strip of cloth or a paper and sold to the silkworm farmers. These farmers keep the eggs under a hygiene condition under a suitable conditions of temperature and humidity so that egg can get warmth and suitable temperature to larvae to hatch from eggs. This is done when the mulberry leaves trees bear a fresh crop of leaves. The larvae called caterpillars of silkworm eat day and night and increase enormously in their size. So once the egg hatch, they were fed on a mulberry tree as that it could get big in the size. The worms are kept in clean bamboo trays along with the freshly chopped mulberry leaves. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillars stop eating and move to a tiny chamber of bamboo in the tray to spin cocoons. Small racks of the twigs may be provided in the rays to which the cocoons get attached. The caterpillar or a silkworm spins the cocoon inside which develop the silk moth. So these worms are once ready, they after 25 to 30 days they stop eating and start making a cocoons. Processing a silk pile of cocoon is used for obtaining a silk fiber. The cocoons are kept under the sun or boiled or exposed to the steam. The silk fibers separated out. The process of taking out of threads from the cocoon for use as a silk is called reeling the silk. Reeling is done in a special machine which unwind the thread of fibers or a silk. From the cocoon, silk fibers are then spun into the silk thread, which are woven into a silk cloth by the weavers. So once the cocoon is ready, they boil in a hot water, and then it is used to obtain the silk fiber. It's called as silk, reeling the silk, and to produce the silk cloths. End of the chapter.